Hello, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of the Ezer Mindset podcast. I am your host, Altimese Nichole, and I am so excited to have two special guests with me today. Um, it is Lakesha Cole and Evelyn Tatiana. Listen. Um, they are both near and dear to my heart. We have worked on multiple partnerships together. Lakeisha is one of my dear friends and sisters at heart, and she is an author, an advocacy influencer, a serial entrepreneur. She is a media maven, y'all. She understands the media streets like nobody other than, and Evelyn is her right hand. She literally operates the business and keeps things flowing, keeps the deliverables going. And in my time of getting to know both of them, it has been such a beautiful thing to witness in terms of their internal partnership as well as how they present themselves to the client. So I think this is a very special treat for everybody. And thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Lakeisha, for joining me.
Hi, friend. How are you? Thanks for
Oh,
having us.
girl.
Yeah,
Of
thanks for
course, of
having
course,
us.
of course. So, how did you two connect? Because there is definitely some beautiful synergy in your relationship. And like, did you guys know each other beforehand? Like, how did this come to
No.
be?
So, funny story. Evelyn slid in my DMs. That's how we
Yeah.
met.
Yes, sliding
That's
in
how we met.
DMs.
And the timing could not have been more perfect because the day that she sent me a
Wow.
DM is the exact, it was like within the same hour that I had fired my previous assistant.
Wow.
And so her timing could not have been more perfect. I went to her Instagram page and I saw that she was new to business, but there was something that I liked about her content that said, let me give her a try. Like I am that
Mm,
business owner that will give new business owners a fair start, right? Because we
yeah.
all have to
Yeah.
start somewhere. And I just remember knowing what that felt like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And so there was some good synergy there. I liked her copywriting style. And so I said, let's try it. And here we are.
Oh my gosh. And Evelyn, what gave you the intuition to be like, let me just go ahead and reach out to Lakeisha and let her know that I'm interested? Like what were you thinking before sending the DM?
Well, I had started my business in March. I reached out to
Okay.
Lakeisha around May. And at that point, I was starting to sweat a little bit. I was like, I need a client. I need to land something. I've started this big thing, and now I don't know what I'm doing. So I was just
Oh,
going honestly through the Instagram FYP, looking for
yeah.
hashtags, ideal clients. Knew nothing about the PR world, didn't even really know that that's what she was into, but I went to her page and something about it just felt like, okay, this is who I need to reach out to. Took a
Mm,
chance and it'll be 3 years this upcoming March already,
Yeah.
which is crazy to
wow.
me.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And
I
my
love that.
agency is 3 years young. So she's been with me from,
From the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mm, wow.
yeah.
And in terms of I guess that process of like learning and growing, um, how how did you guys find the synergy together in terms of how to address client deliverables, client pain points? Like, how did you guys figure all of that out? And then it seems as if you have a process at this point for that. Like, share with us how you guys got to that point.
We at this point we do have a process, but when Evelyn joined my team, I had no processes in place. I actually had
Mm,
to shut the agency down for a couple of months so that we can work on
mm,
establishing an onboarding process, the back end, the systems that we needed to be able to manage different freelancers, to be able to manage different components of PR campaigns. Like I had none of that when I launched my agency. I just knew I was great at PR because my background is in journalism and PR. I knew how I was able to grow my previous business through the power of PR. And so it wasn't a matter of me not having the confidence in my skill set. It was transitioning from a product-based business to a service-based business. And so essentially for me, it was like an infant, right? Starting all over again from the bottom up. And so Evelyn came in and we decided that Dubsado was going to be our system and that we both needed to learn it. And we learned it together. And so to answer your question, a lot of it has been learning as we go, documenting the processes that have worked, things that we can kind of rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah.
And then sort of slowly building that SOP as we move along through different client experiences. And I think it's just a true testament of, you ever heard the saying, launch it broken, fix it live? Like everything
Yeah.
isn't going to be
Yeah.
perfect when you start. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't start, right? Because we
Yeah.
all have to start somewhere. And there's value in sort of stumbling and learning as you go and failing in some instances. And then going back and revisiting those mistakes, picking out the things that you've learned and how you can improve upon those moving forward.
I love
I
that.
think I answered your question.
Yeah. You did.
Yeah, I think a
You
lot of it
did.
also boils down to trust and
Mm.
communication. And that's something that I've had with Lakeisha since the very beginning. She made me feel safe enough to be open about, hey, I'm new. I am learning as I go. One of my favorite things that she always says is, we're building this plane as we're flying it. And it's
Mm.
so true, because the climate and the space is constantly changing, especially for anyone that works online. It feels like there's something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just requires a level of resourcefulness. And I was able to take a lot of my admin and customer service experience from previous jobs and apply it here. So I think all of our talents and skill sets combined
Mm-hmm.
created kind of a perfectly fit puzzle piece. And no one day is the same. So we really are learning as we go, but
Mm-hmm.
we've grown a
But
lot. I'm really
the
excited.
fundamentals we have, the fundamentals of PR we have,
Mm-hmm.
the fundamentals of how to scale a profitable business I have, because I've been doing this for 10 years with other businesses.
Yeah.
But I think the part that has been most valued to me in terms of having Evelyn on board is the things that she's strong at, I'm weak at, right?
Mm.
Altimese, you know me, I am not
Yeah.
the most people-y person, right?
Ah, as you sip tea.
At all, at all. I love people in doses, but I'm not the most people-y person, and I know that about
Mm.
myself. I have a very high sense of self-awareness of the things that I'm great at and the things that I'm not. And Evelyn came in with that customer service experience. I don't even know what who her prior employer was, but I can tell from the day that I met her that a lot of her work experience was rooted in customer service, just by the way that she spoke to me, the way that she responded to my questions, the way that she carried herself. And she has taken all of those transferable skills from her previous employment and has rolled that into her business. And that really is her secret sauce, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to treat people, and knowing how to make them feel a certain way, right?
Yes.
Because part of the work that we do, of course, we're building strategy, we're putting our clients, in these great media opportunities, but then there's also that client experience that you
Yes.
have to give equal attention to. And Evelyn nails it every single time.
So we
Cause
were talking about
I'll be ready to fire clients. Let me tell you,
listen, we got to go
I'll
there.
be
We
ready
got
to
to go
be
there.
like, they got
Listen,
to go, and she be
listen.
like, I got them.
Yeah, yeah. We got to go there because we've been talking about all of the tactical things, the tangible things. But listen, y'all, and Keisha, I will say you have been helping me on this side because 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, Altimese would take a lot of crap from clients and would like literally try to tough it out with a client that it's clearly not a fit.
Hmm.
Like,
Me too.
like I have learned so much from you in
Mm-hmm.
terms of when to just cut that thing loose and be like, this ain't gonna work without damaging the relationship, if that makes
Relationship, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
without damaging the relationship. And y'all, there have been plenty of times that we have had a client that just it wasn't working. It felt as if how I was communicating, how my team operates, how we move, how we flow, wasn't resonating with the client. And I would say, you know what? I don't think we're the best fit for you, but I think I know someone who is. I think I know a team that is. And it would be Lakeisha's team. And it would be Keisha and Evelyn. And like I would love for us to talk about those moments when it just ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not right with the client. And because all I started out in business with that whole Walmart concept of the customer is always right. And that's
Me
Mm-hmm.
not
too.
true.
Mm-mm.
Oh, you still like I literally came in like we got to make sure the client is always happy and the client gets what they want because the client is right. And no, they're not.
Right.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, for the
Because there
sake of
has to be
what?
some point of compromise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead,
think
Evelyn.
it's really like, you have to give yourself time to vent. Like, Lakeisha and I
Mm,
communicate over Voxer every day. And if we run into a moment or a client who is just giving us a hard time, we do allow ourselves the space to talk a little
mhm.
shit, you know? We get on the chat and we talk about all the things that are frustrating us, why it's frustrating us. We give ourselves space for those emotions, but then we find a way to professionally and respectfully find that compromise with a client, and
Mhm.
also in a way that lets them know you're not about to walk all over us. We're here to
Mhm.
support you, but we're not here to be taken advantage of. And that's something that Lakeisha has taught me to do really well, because
Right.
I have a lot of people pleasing tendencies. And when I first
Mm,
started in business, I was like, I'm not going to survive. I'm not going to make it if I keep letting these people act and do however they want towards
mm,
me. So Lakeisha came
Mm-hmm.
in and kind of taught me how to have a backbone in a way that doesn't make me feel uncomfortable or make me
yeah.
feel like I'm overstepping my own emotions. So
Yeah.
I think that's the
Mm,
most important part, is just giving yourself space to talk about things, and then after that coming up with a solution and keep moving forward. Don't let it freeze you or stop you from being successful, because sometimes the clients have good points too. Even if they're
Mm-hmm.
working your last nerve, there's a reason that they're frustrated as well. So you kind of find that middle ground and figure out where to go from there.
Yeah. I think in the 3 years that I've had this agency, we've probably had maybe three clients that kind of
mhm.
fall in that never again bucket.
Mm,
Will we
Yeah.
work with this person again, or this type of person, right?
yeah.
Um, and so for me, I feel like my role in these situations is to protect my team. I rock hard for my team, right?
Yeah.
Even when they're wrong, I'm going to call them out when they're wrong,
Mhm.
but you're not going to talk to them any kind of way, and you're
Yeah.
not going to mistreat them. And like, it's just a hard no for me. And
Yeah.
so I will handle my people as I see fit, but you as a client do not have the luxury to mistreat my people. That's not what we're ever going to do.
Mm,
And I think we had an incident once, Evelyn and I, with a client that I had brought her on because I thought she would be a great fit to work with this client as well. And it just turned out to be, how would you describe that experience, Evelyn?
I think it's one of those people who could never be wrong. And
mm,
Yes.
so they came at us very defensively, no matter what we said or what we did. Nothing we could do or say was enough.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
And, Lakeisha expects the team to be accountable for when we mess up, when we make mistakes. We communicate that ourselves to the clients.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kind of got to a point where no matter what we did, even going out of our own boundaries, our own, to make things right, it just wasn't enough. And Lakeisha
Mm-hmm.
and I got to a point where we're like, are we burnt out? Are we like we were getting to a point where we were dreading the project. And so
Mm-hmm.
that for us, but I'm glad that it happened because it showed us what we won't put up with, what we don't want to do moving forward. And it forced us to look at our systems and reevaluate how to handle it moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your
And it
question, I
also
think,
allowed us to plug some holes, right? Because we're
mm-hmm,
not saying our processes are perfect.
right.
Sometimes you get those clients that will test your
Yeah.
processes, right?
Oh yeah.
And you
Yeah.
need those experience in order to improve. And this particular client, she tested every every inch of our
Literally
process. And so
every inch.
we're thankful for that part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have did without the attitude and the other stuff, which is where Evelyn's peoply skills come into
People
play.
skills.
Because there were moments during meetings where I had to turn my camera off because this right here says it before it comes out.
Yeah.
And in order to remain in that professional bubble, I will send Evelyn a Voxer and be like, take it from here. And she knows exactly what headspace I'm in and what that means when I say I'm out. And
Mm,
that's really to protect the business, to protect, our reputation, but
yeah.
also to maintain that sense of professionalism. Again, we're not perfect. We're human, and we all have feelings and react and respond to things um, in our own unique way. And so for me, it's deferring to the person who I know can maintain that level of professionalism, integrity, that we need in hot situations like that. And then there are some situations where I know she's probably not the best person to
Mm-hmm.
handle it. And
Mm,
I am. And
mm,
then that's when, I come out roaring in protection of my team. There was another incident where we had a client where he was used to being told yes.
mm.
And we know the world of PR, you get a lot more no's
You sure
than
do.
yeses.
Yep.
And having to explain why Forbes or the Today Show or, some other top tier media isn't interested in their story. It's like we have to start local.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the best strategy.
Yep.
And that particular project, actually, I think we've only had one no, we had two that ended before the end of the contract. One was scope creeping, which we can talk about later, and I wasn't putting up with that, and so we ended that one. And then this one, I just felt like just the way this person, it was more so not the work that we were doing, because we were actually doing really good work for this client. It was how the person treated my team.
Mm.
And when you get to a place of being disrespectful,
Yeah.
I don't need your money.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't need your money. You bye. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the end. We're running this back. We don't want to do this anymore. Best wishes to you. Um, and then I felt bad for putting my team in a situation like that. But I honestly, in the beginning, thought it was the type of client that one would be great for our portfolio because we had never worked in that industry before. And so it was more like
Mm.
a case study, case
Yeah.
study for us. But it just did not work out. The personalities wasn't a great fit. The work ethic didn't match.
Mm.
The expectations weren't aligned. And there were some other personal things that had happened with that person in our team that was just unacceptable. And so at some point you have to decide what's more important, the money
Mm-hmm.
or the integrity of your agency.
And how quickly did you pull the plug on this client? Like, how quickly did you be like, mm-mm, this ain't working? Did you?
I think we were with this client maybe 3 months,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
And was this person acting, disrespectfully from the beginning, or was it a gradual?
It was a gradual, it was, I will say it was a gradual, but when we started to kind of think back over time of little things that were
Mm,
said and little things that had happened, it was probably
there,
there. Yeah.
like the signs
Yeah.
were
Would you agree, Evelyn?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he took our nose for opportunities as we didn't know what we were doing,
there. Mm,
and
Mm-hmm.
also had this tone of, being women in the space, they can't
wow.
possibly understand. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
just got to a point where we were like, keep your money, keep your pride. we're good over here, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't give up easily. We're always looking for plan A, B, C, D, and E before
Mm-hmm.
we decide it's not a good fit. But yeah, some people you just genuinely don't work well with people, and that's
Right.
okay too. And I think for me, it took a while to understand that that's not always a reflection of what I'm doing or the work that we're doing. It just simply isn't a good fit sometimes.
Which is why that Walmart concept doesn't always
Right.
Doesn't
doesn't
always work.
always apply. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we've been talking a lot about the client relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But Lakeisha, you and I have experiences within our industry with
Mm-hmm.
other publicists and or partners, right? And
Yeah.
navigating those relationships um,
It's a good question.
when they don't go how you expect them to go. Let me say, so
Mm-hmm.
NPR, it is so easy to say you do all these things. Yeah, I can do this. I can get you this. I can get that. It's harder to deliver on those things.
Yes.
So you can say it all you want, right? And in our industry, like in the same way, sometimes Lakeisha has hired, Azar. Azar is connected and hired Keisha, and like we'll partner in that way because we honor and we know like the deliverables. We understand that, oh, if I'm gonna hire this person for this, this is what we're gonna get, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have that. However, we have had some instances where that's not necessarily the case. And I would say, honestly, I would say, Keisha, you are better at handling those situations. There's one specific that I have in mind that I just I don't give any energy to it. I let her do whatever she want to do, say whatever she want to say. Um, but as Keisha is sipping tea again, um, but I would love, Keisha, for you to talk about not just the boundaries with clients, but boundaries and setting expectations and how to navigate through those when it doesn't go. Like when someone says, "Yeah, girl, I got you, girl. Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna partner," and they don't show up. Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't show up. They create assumptions in their head of like, because you actually delivering on what you said you was gonna do, and they're not. So then they feeling like you trying to take their job and all of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would love your perspective on that, Keisha, because we've had a
I
thing or
don't even
two.
know where to start.
Yeah. How much time do you have
I
today?
yes, because it listen, my boundaries uh don't discriminate. Client, personal, friend, family, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And they're non-negotiable for me. And I think most people who have gotten to know me will know how strong, how rock solid my boundaries are when
Yeah.
it comes to how I expect to be treated, how you're going to talk to me or not, and just the type of relationship or friendship that I expect in return
Yeah.
because I know how I show up in professional and personal relationships. This isn't a tick for tack, I give, you give. But at some point,
Mm.
you have to reciprocate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
energy, the effort, the output, we can talk about that later. But you have to be able to reciprocate that same energy and care and love that people give to you. Otherwise, people get burnt out and may not want to give it
Yeah.
to you anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think I know what situation you're referring to. And we're not going to name drop because we don't do that. We're
No.
too cute and classy for that.
Right.
Um, but in that particular situation, after reading the emails, because we consult with each other on, friend, can you check my
Yeah.
tone in this response? And she'll be like, girl, I can just see your neck rolling when you were typing this email. I'm like, good, that's why I sent it to you, because I need you to take all of that energy out, right? And so we have that kind of relationship. Evelyn too, I'll be like, tone check, what does
Yeah.
this sound like? But the email, that what you showed me and your response back was perfect. But the energy from this person just felt like it was rooted in jealousy, envy, manipulation, and just darn outright hateful. And I hated that you had to experience that, because I know how kind you are. And I know you as a friend and as a professional, I know you to always do your part. And so her energy in that situation was really unfair and misguided.
Yeah.
And it needed to be directed at the person who actually made the decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for some reason, she saw you as an easy target. And I didn't like that for my friend.
And I don't,
Because
I'm
I didn't
good
like it.
at, and Keisha, you know this. I'm not good at, if there is not a level of investment in the relationship, meaning the relationship has great value to me, and I want to put forth the effort, I will literally take an L. I will allow someone to say, do whatever to make me look like the bad guy. I will take the L and I will just walk away. I will not say anything. But I'm learning sometimes I need to say something as I'm walking
Mm-hmm.
away. And I think that's where Keisha's coming in, because she's helping me to identify, like, just because I'm saying something doesn't mean I have to go back and we have to repair and we have to fix and mend, because I don't want that, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I am the one. I will literally, there have been, I can think of a few. There have been instances where I let the person in some instance hurt me before I left, before I walked away from it. And that's just not in business. That's like in relationships in general. And for me, it was more of a go ahead and do that. And to me, it solidifies my walk away, because at that point, in my head, like, it solidifies the walk away to where it's like, if you do that, like, I'm gonna just go ahead and leave, and I'll let you sit with what you just did. Like, I'll let you sit with it, and I won't even say anything. Like, does it hurt? Absolutely. But
I think there's a time, there's a place and time for every conversation. And there are situations where I will just walk away
yeah.
completely. No conversation needed. I've gotten the intel and what I needed to be okay with me walking away. But then there are
Mhm.
situations in professional environments where you have to learn how to defend your work,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because you don't want the client to ever feel like you're not meeting your end of your contractual obligations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you do have to come in there on 100 to defend your work.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are instances where I do believe it's you take the L because it might be for the better good of the team overall. Maybe you've assessed that there's actually no winning in this situation. So let me walk away while I still have, my reputation and integrity and all of that intact.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a case by case situation for me.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not the type. I don't match energy. It's just not who I am. You can come in and act a fool if you want to, and I'm never going to match your energy. I'm never going to give you that reaction. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
might hop on Voxa and me and Evelyn, we going to be,
Give a good
talking mad
one.
shit about you. Right. But you're never going to get, and when I say never, you are never going to get that
Mm.
reaction from me ever. I don't allow people to make me feel uncomfortable in my space.
Mm.
You will feel uncomfortable before you think you have enough power to make me feel uncomfortable. You can have all the issues in the world with me. If we walk into the same room, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to speak.
Mm.
I'm going to be as comfortable as I know how to be,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how I show up in spaces, right? And so I think that same mindset has to apply in business. You got to have real tough skin to work in PR. Really,
Yeah.
really tough skin, because again, you get a lot more no's than yeses.
Yep.
And you have to be able to take the constructive no and not get so paralyzed by the no that you can't find it in you to continue to move on to get a yes, right? We've had people who join our team who are used to working by themselves with other companies, clients, whatever, and doing great work, but then they struggle with taking that same energy and applying it in a team environment. Because it becomes this weird dynamic of that person not being the only shining star on the team, right? Or someone else on the team may outperform that person when they're used to, being the one that performs. And so Evelyn and I have had to manage a lot of different personalities and dynamics in terms of teams. And I would say that's probably the one that we see happen the most is people who have never had the experience of working with the team and not really knowing how that dynamic work. And then it's a lot of times that causes some conflict.
You said something that I want to go back to, that no one can ever make you feel uncomfortable in your own space. How did was that something that just came naturally to you? Because I am sure there are people listening, like, well, like, what techniques do you do? Like, how did you get to that place of being so rooted, so grounded, that it doesn't matter what people say, do, what the external environment isn't shaking you? Like, how did you get to that place?
I somehow find myself in situations over the years. I like to say I'm the quietest person in the room on purpose, right? And that intimidates people, I've learned. And so sometimes I'll find myself in these situations where someone may think I'm not as deserving of an opportunity or recognition. And then it just creates this whole sort of tornado of jealousy and envy and manufacturing, narratives and things like that. And I think I've had enough of those experiences in my life to where I have sort of built this armor that I put on when I feel like I need it, that protects me from those kind of people, from that kind of energy. I always say business is a confidence game. And that ain't nothing you can tell me that will ever make me believe I'm not good at this shit. Right. And so I lead with that, right? I believe it. And I lead with that. I believe in myself. I know that I'm a great person. I know that I'm a great friend. I know how I show up in relationships, personal and professional. And that's not to say that I'm perfect, but it is to say that I am intentional about the effort that I put into myself. And I am intentional about what I give to others. And because I have created this space, I like to say I live in my own bubble and I like it here because I have created this space for myself. And I have allowed people that I love and trust into this space. There's no reason for me to show up in a space feeling uncomfortable. I have not done nothing to you.
Right.
So you can feel whatever way you want to feel about me and my presence and my business accolades and how you think I got here or whatever you've heard. That's on you, right? Other people's narratives in their head about me, it's on them. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. And so I lead with confidence because I believe in myself and my abilities to do my job well. And ain't a damn thing nobody can tell me different.
Oh, girl. Evelyn, has Keisha impacted your life the way she's impacted mine? Like
1000%. 1000%. I think that, watching her business grow and the way that she does business, something that I've noticed is that whether it's a client or friend or a team member or whoever, sometimes it can be people will mistake her kindness for weakness. And that's just not the case. And they feel, at least with people we've had on our team and projects in the past, sometimes they can feel kind of entitled to her energy, entitled to her resources, what she provides. but I think a big part that's missing is that there's there's a level of appreciation and gratitude that you have to have, because otherwise, I don't know, when you get into that headspace of, oh, it's owed to me, or oh, I'm doing all these things for her, so why wouldn't she do it for me? Or you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's just, she's taught me to have that, almost that awareness of when someone is genuine versus someone who is just trying to take advantage of me, or someone who's
Mm-hmm.
trying to talk out of my name or call me out of my name or what I do.
Mm.
But when you have, and it takes work to build that confidence, to prioritize yourself. Self-care is a big thing that she's taught me. You know, I don't let myself get burnt out the way I used to. I don't let people talk to me any kind of way. She has a really special talent of just respectfully telling people no,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and setting that hard boundary, but just watching the way that she realizes when it's no longer serving her, but she doesn't allow it to impact her relationships with that person. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't burn bridges. She doesn't cause a scene. She doesn't feel the need to cuss people out for the sake of her business or her name. But she's also very solid in who she is and what she does. She knows what she brings to the table. So she doesn't feel the need to perform or put on a fake whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you get what you
Yeah.
get with Lakesha. And I think that
Mm.
whether you're working with her, you have a friendship or relationship with her, you have to have those same values.
Yeah.
And we've definitely worked with people that felt, I don't know, maybe intimidated by the way we do things. And
Mm-hmm.
in their mind, it's wrong, but it's like you have to be able to collaborate and compromise. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But
And
I
it's
just
not
feel,
always your way, it's the way of the
right,
team,
Yeah.
right? And so it's
exactly.
a collaborative effort, and that is the single struggle I see with freelancers that come into a
Mm-hmm.
team environment, is they're so used to doing things their way, creating copy their way, or maybe doing web design their way, or maybe pitching their way. And all of those skills are needed, but when you bring your skills into a team environment, it becomes a we, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why I don't lead certain relationships or alliances that I have with clients, right? You know, it's one thing to say, "Oh, I know people who work at the White House," but if I can't translate that I into a we for the client, then it's irrelevant. It's not important. It's not important to leverage,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so I see that a lot. I've experienced that quite a few times, even just business partnerships that I've had over the years,
Mm.
of the whole one person outperforming, and you're outperforming someone in their area of expertise, and then people get into their feelings, and then the energy shifts, the partnership
Yep.
dissolves. But it's that one thing about not being able to integrate your skill set into a team. I don't know who's teaching that out in this world, but they need to do more of it.
Yeah. And what do you think
It's kind of
Preparing
like that
freelancers
annoying
on how to work
coworker.
with a team.
Yeah, it's like you get that annoying new coworker that's like, well, at my old job, we did it this way. And it's like, well, then you should have
Yeah.
stayed
Yeah,
at your old job, you know?
right.
What do you think about the people who give the we all the time? Um, that's not taking the credit for their work. So they're giving the credit to everybody, like we did this, and the other people are like, yeah, we did it, but they didn't do it. They didn't support. Like, what's your perspective on that?
Well, if it's a team project, I will always refer to it as we, regardless of how small or big a part a team member contributed to that project. It's still a we. It's still a we for
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Mm,
It's
I
also
rarely
kind of
say
a,
I rarely say I.
yeah.
I
yeah,
don't think I ever say I, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. I don't
it's
think
kind
you
of a
say
way to
I in
project
general.
manage.
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
it's a good way to manage the project as well. Because even in all our emails, We say we,
Yep.
our,
Mm-hmm.
and it lets clients or people know that it doesn't all fall on Lakesha or it doesn't all
Right.
fall on me. It's a we
Right.
effort. So by always CCing each other,
Yep.
always being in all the communications and everything, it lets people know up front it's not just one person doing it all.
Right.
So I think that, and
Even if
also,
it's a mistake made
mm-hmm,
by a single person, it's still a
We.
we mistake.
Yes.
Then there are
yeah,
some instances where I'll go to the person and say, you actually kind of need to take ownership of this mistake, and
mm-hmm,
say um, and explain the difference in the I and the we. But even down to, missteps, we as a team take full accountability for
I
it.
love it. I love it. And I absolutely adore the relationship and the partnership that you two have built over the years. It's absolutely beautiful, and I just wanted you guys to share this with our audience because building a business is hard, and it could be
Mm-hmm.
lonely if you don't find your
mm-hmm.
people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and it's beautiful that you two found each other. You found your people. And I just wanted to highlight that and share that to say, like, it is possible. You do not have to do this road alone. I am so grateful for Keisha,
It
like, so in so many ways. But in business, she's helped me to pop my shit when I need to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way of saying it. Like, she's helped me to not hide in the shadows because I was taught to
Yes.
hide
She
in the
sees potential before you even see it
Yes.
sometimes. Like she has this superpower of knowing what you do, but also seeing what you can
Yes.
do, even if you don't see it. And I think it's so important to have that community in this space and someone that you can trust because when you're running a business, a lot of the time you're spending more time with your business and the people you work with than your loved ones and
Mm-hmm.
your outside life. So I feel very grateful to have someone that has my back 110%, has that trust, that respect, communication. I never have to question. She's saying my name in rooms when I'm not there. I just it's a blessing, but it also takes work. In the 3 years that we've known each other, I think that we've learned the way we think, the way we do, the way we feel, who we are as people beyond the business as well. And I think that having that trust to get to know someone beyond your skill sets is really important as well.
oh, Well, I appreciate that. I really do feel like it's my job as a leader, as the owner of my agency. I don't expect people to join my team and work with me forever. In fact, I'm going to not encourage you to work with me forever. But I do like to identify things that I see in my team members that they may not see in themselves yet and help nurture that. And then just provide any type of support that I can to help them um, be able to strengthen that skill set and turn it into something even bigger. And so I put a lot of effort and thought into how I can support team members, and how I can help them and their business grow, as well, because at the end of the day we're all just trying to make a good living, feed our family, and you know be able to enjoy life a little. And however I can support the people that I trust my business with, I'm always going to be down to
I
help them.
love it. I love it. So where, if someone wanted to connect with you two and connect with CPR, like how would they do that? Where can they find you?
They can find us on the web at shepr.co. We're also on Instagram and LinkedIn, under ShePR Agency. And you can find me on Instagram as your PR bestie.
Yay! She's one of my besties. I love her so much. And thank you, Evelyn. Thank you so much. Y'all, Evelyn and I have worked together on different projects with Lakeisha, like on multiple occasions, and this is the first time that I've actually seen her beautiful face. And it's like I already know her because we've already worked
Yeah.
together off and on for years. So
Yep.
it's just so beautiful. And again, for those who are listening, who are building their business, starting to build their business, are deep in their business and kind of feeling alone in the process, your tribe is out there. Your people are out there. Don't be afraid to slide in somebody's
Hmm.
DMs, honey, because it could turn into something beautiful 3 years later. And just
Yeah.
be open and honest and real about what you want, your boundaries, and believe that you can do it. And until next time, we will catch you later. And remember to just be yourself unapologetically. And I love you. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.